Thank you so much for these wonderful questions. My name is Francis Nyake Steven. Let me start with the first question. On my list, the first question says, describe the core components of a virtual machine and explain how you will leverage virtualization technology in a business setting. Now, before we come to the core component, okay, let me try to explain what virtual machine really mean. Now, virtual machine is a software-based computer that run inside a physical and computer using hypervisor. Okay. Now, when we come to the core component of virtual machine, number one is hypervisor. Now, the hypervisor is and a software layers that sit between the physical component and the virtual machine. Okay, now the number two core component is the virtual CPU. Now the virtual CPU process and instruction and just like the physical and CPU. Okay, now the other core component is the virtual RAM, which is the temporal and storage. Okay, now the other component is the virtual and hard disk, okay, which is the permanent storage that store operating system and within the computer. Okay, then we also talk about the virtual network adapter, and what it does, it really allow computers to communicate to each other. Now then we that's the component. So one, we have the hypervisor, and we have the virtual CPU, and we have the virtual RAM, we have the virtual network adapter. So these are the core component of and virtualization. Okay, now let's come to number two and question what it really say. But before we come to number two questions, and if you continue to read, it says it explain how you would leverage virtualization technology in a business setting. Now, in a business setting, virtualization is and really reduce cost and reduce hardware cost. Okay, it reduce hardware cost, and that kind of maintenance, you don't do it in virtualization, just like the host or the physical component. The physical component, you do maintenance, but in virtualization you don't do maintenance. So in business, and you don't do it reduce cost. Okay, it reduce expenditure. Okay, so let's come to number two question, which says that explain the primary purpose of Active Directory and how it facilitates. Number two says describes the difference between a server role and a server features. How do you determine which role and features a server need? Okay, now if we come to the server, the difference between the server role and a server features. Okay, now a server role defines the primary function of a server. Okay, and it determines and what the server is designed to, okay, to do within what a network. Okay, for an example, we have the Active Directory domain server, we have the DNS server, we have the DHCP server, we also have the file and services. Now, when we come to the server features support the server role. Okay, it supports the server role. So features are optional components that provide what additional functionalities, such as we have the the net and framework. We also have the Windows backup. We also have the BitLocker. Okay, so to determine the which role and features a server needs, and you would analyze business requirement, identify server users needs, then you consider security and performance requirement, and you follow best practice for and minimal installations. Okay, now if we come to number T questions, what it says: explain the primary purpose of Active Directory and how it facilitates users and resource management within a domain. Give an example of a common task you can perform using Active Directory. Okay, now when we talk about Active Directory, the Active Directory and manage and computers and also users. Okay, yes, users and also resources within a domain and environment. So the primary purpose is to provide what? One, we have centralized authentication. We also have authorization. We also have policy and management. We also have resource and organization. Okay, Active Directory organize object and into domains, organization unit, and we also have groups and making administration structure and what and structures. Okay, so it facilitates management by allowing administrations to create and manage accounts, assign permissions. Then we have apply group policy. We also have control access to share resource. Okay, so a common task and perform an Active Directory is creating a new account, assigning it to and specific security groups. Okay, so these are the questions. These are the answers to these 3 questions. Thank you so much. To appreciate. Thank you.